So coming back to India, did you think about taking a job or you want to start off something on your own?
I was supposed to do a smart mirror project. I also decided not to do it.
How did you get your first client in advertising?
You had to take the portfolio that the design studio had. First client that we had, I think they were paying us 1,000 or something.
Jewelry, normally you will see the bigger brands spend a lot with brand ambassadors. So how did advertising marketing come for jewelry that way?
I was talking to jewelers and non-jewelers both. But I think for jewelers, eventually
Do you believe a bad product can still be sold through good marketing?
I think a lot of people might have a very faulty definition here. The marketing cycle starts with
We use a lot of micro influencers today, getting embroiled with one comment. What's your take on that?
it's a society that is not really fond of success stories of other people.
Like you're talking about, content creation has become so easy on phones. Anyone can be a creator today. Has that also changed the way people look at marketing and advertising today in terms of just creating ads? At least a decade or more back, brand ambassadors were a big thing. Like if you look at a Coke or a Pepsi, you will not relate it without a Shah Rukh or a Salman or a Sachin Tendulkar for that matter. Today that's got reduced drastically, and a lot of these big bold advertisements have now moved to the digital platform using these influencers and content creators. Is that a conscious shift in terms of the thought process of brands from an ROI perspective because the users are over here, or how is it?
I think the fact that digital has penetrated so much, it's created new superstars. Earlier, I think superstars or sporting stars were limited to, let's say if you're doing films or if you're playing cricket, or maybe if you're a very famous journalist or your certain chosen professions. But I think with digital and with content creators, what's happened is because that decentralization has happened. Now the fact is they have a following. You can really leverage their distribution as well, right? So what happens is I think from an ROI standpoint, I am still pretty certain that if you get an A-lister Hindi film celebrity, you will get that amount of credibility also. You will get that amount of distribution also. But you also have these options now. Correct. If you want to support a main campaign, for instance, or if you just want to have a digital campaign,
Got it.
because you've got so many. I mean, people who create fun content, people who create
So
maybe.
it depends where your audience is, what's
Correct.
relatable to them is terms of where position your marketing spends out there. But the typical question is, how do you actually gauge your ROI on marketing and advertising? You can't always pinpoint कि ये रुपए खर्च करने से मेरे को ये users आया, sales आया, acquisition हुआ. And when platforms start, typically the ROI is larger and we see a decline coming in that. Do you believe that somewhere where Google ads started off or when Meta ads started off, the initial ROI was way higher? It could be multiple reasons. The platform was developing, the number of people using the platform also was less. Is that a trend that we see and now it is more stabilized in terms of where it is?
Yeah. So I'll break that down into two. The first point that you raised was. I do think that some amount of advertising is trackable. You can sort of measure the ROI or the outcome, and some of it is a little intangible. I think your second point is also very true that when platforms first penetrate, they are a little liberal, for the lack of any other word. Like I do know of brands that, let's say Amazon.
Correct.
I know that when we are trying to grow a brand right now, which has 300 retail outlets in India, and if I then go back to a very similar brand in terms of scale, when they started on Amazon, but 10 years back,
Before that.
the kind of ease that they could penetrate with
Was
on
very
Amazon was
different.
very different
Quite
from this brand, right? So
And do you see that happening in quick commerce now? Next?
it will happen everywhere, because the fact is even these aggregators are businesses, right?
Correct, obviously.
So what they want you firstly to do is
Get
just
addicted to using the
get
platform.
addicted, and
then-
even as a business I want to encourage you to
True.
come and maybe display your products on my
Over there.
platform, and
So-
I want to give you business.
Sure. So do you believe a bad product can still be sold through good marketing?
I would be skeptical about that. I think you can. So, okay, let's define marketing, right? So I think a lot of people might have a very faulty definition here,
Okay.
but I feel truly the marketing cycle starts with the product, right? Then you try and take that product out in the open. You try and build a brand around it. You acquire customers. You retain them, and then I think the true test for any endeavor is when you get a referral. So it's a bar, it's a
Correct.
BARRR, where you're saying branding. So I
Okay.
want to get the product more credibility, more visibility. Then I want to acquire.
Okay.
Once I've acquired my initial set of customers, I want to retain them.
Correct.
Then I want a referral out of them.
Okay.
So only when you have BARR, that entire chain complete, will actual endeavor of marketing be complete, right? So if you have a faulty product, or if you have a product that's mediocre, getting referrals is going to be very difficult. So I think that's my
It might
take
give you a
on.
little head start by spending some money, but if the product does not satisfy the needs, because today people have multiple options at
Hmm.
their disposal on anything. Like for example, in the recent past, the grooming category across men's and women has like hundreds of brands that has come
Correct.
up, and largely D2C.
Hmm.
But some of them got listed as well.
Right.
And they are finding it hard to survive now. And a lot of them are getting acquired also. There's a lot of consolidation happening in the industry as well. But I think somewhere a head start has happened in terms of building a product through a D2C channel, just through
Absolutely.
advertising over
Absolutely.
there in terms of that. So, I mean, talking about influencers, branding, D2C products, we use a lot of micro influencers today. The recent controversy on India's Got Latent, where we had some big brand
Hmm.
influencers on stage, uh, getting embroiled with one comment. Uh, of course, their deals have gone for a toss
Hmm.
completely, but that has shaken up the industry also a little. That one comment by an individual can trigger a lot of repercussions. And it's not the first time. I think historically also we have seen when some brand ambassadors like a celeb
Hmm.
has made some statement, it has backfired at times to them. And typically now you see in India, you will not see any actors or sports person
Comment on certain.
comment on anything that is controversial, especially if it's political, religious for that matter. So where do you think this is standing in terms of that? That like the audience is consuming this content,
Hmm.
yet this is bound to happen in a country like India. What's your take on that?
So I think, see, I'll break it down into three. I think first point is that uh, that comment was avoidable. I think we'll start from there, because the next 2 points are in no way a defense of that comment, right?
Correct.
So firstly, that was really avoidable.
But isn't the show supposed to be very random?
It
And
is.
and
Hmm.
and the consumers of the show are paying for a show like that,
Right.
right? In a
But
closed room with
hmm.
50, 100 mature adults.
Hmm.
Uh, how does that
So
pan
again,
out?
if I just had to go a little deeper on the first point, a very subjective viewpoint on that
Absolutely.
is it could have been. I think there are better ways to evoke humor
Oh,
and
so I'm not talking about humor
hmm,
over here. Of
hmm,
course, that's dark
hmm,
humor or ugly or
right,
humor, and that's personal choice for
personal
people,
choice, right,
right? But somewhere India is very opinionated,
correct.
and any small thing can trigger people.
So that's the second point actually.
Sure.
That while my personal take is that comment was avoidable, but the fact that it really, the kind of, again, 2 and 3, the second and third point is, one is the fact that it blew up on social media.
True.
The third point is it sort of blew up legally as well, right?
Correct.
So now that's where I feel, that maybe us as Indians, uh, really deep within, if we introspect,
Yeah.
we are not people who are happy at success, right? We are people who are happy when we see someone falling down, or when something not very pleasant happens.
Correct.
So that's where we really want to jump in
Jump
and
in,
share
pull
our
people
two
down.
cents as well.
Yeah.
So I think it's a society that is not really fond of success
Of other
stories of
people.
other people. So I think that
And quick
aspect,
success
quick
somewhere.
success.
Like while we don't disregard the effort someone
Hmm.
like a Ranveer has put in
Yeah.
building the the podcast industry. I think he was one of the first people to start podcast. Maybe 7 to 8 years back,
Right.
when nobody attempted this genre, this platform. But he built that category for himself. He built a brand name for himself. Even Apoor, for that matter, she has built a brand for herself in terms of having 1 million followers is not easy. Doing a debut in a Dharma film is not easy, and you build yourself somewhere over there. One statement can destroy your career to a
Right.
huge extent, and it's going to take time because credibility,
Yeah.
once it's destroyed, it takes years to rebuild it or whitewash it.
Correct. So, like I said, somewhere we are happy when something
Yeah.
wrong happens with someone. But I think also the third point is, if you're really wanting to express displeasure,
Okay.
don't post about it.
Okay.
Because the fact is that, when you're adding to that social media clutter, right? When you're adding to that hashtag, it's going to throw more of it at you.
True.
Correct. And you're further and further going to be sort of engrossed in that little thing.
Yeah.
So I think the best and the most mature reaction to that could have been, I don't like this comment or whatever is happening. It's my personal choice.
Correct.
And I'm just going to be away from commenting on it or really, sharing my
But that's
two
not
cents on it.
Indians,
That's
right?
not
We are
that,
all keyboard warriors. So I've not
Yeah.
seen, I don't subscribe to India's Got Talent. I've seen some of these clips on social media, of course. But yeah, I mean, Indians love to comment on people and in terms of there. But the point I'm getting to eventually is that as an influencer who's trying to build themselves on the platform, one advice for them and one advice for brands who are now a little skeptical that sometimes it happens that someone with the brand associated with them, they start unfollowing or unsubscribe from the brand as well, because जब तक वो celebrity आपके साथ है, हम आपकी brand को भी
Yeah,
downgrade
it's,
कर देंगे. So what is one advice if you have to give to both these people?
So I think, see, and this is not the first time when, let's say a brand would have been
Yes.
affected. I think even during, if I recollect it right, I think during Aryan Khan's arrest,
Yes.
I think the brand Shah Rukh Khan was harmed to a great extent,
True.
when, when a brand ropes in a celeb, you have to understand it's a double-edged sword, right? Because when the times are right, when the tides are with you,
Yeah.
you can really
You'll
get
ride
the
the wave.
credibility.
Correct.
You can ride the wave.
Correct.
But when it's not, suddenly that can also harm you. So I think the advice for a brand would be that a brand will eventually collaborate with maybe a small or a big influencer, a celebrity, an A-lister, whosoever, but you cannot base your entire ethos on them.
Correct.
You need to have a personality of your own that has to be enhanced by
the
the addition of that star, right?
So I'll tell you example, like ICICI Bank was going through a lot of controversies 5 to 7 years back in terms of deposits being withdrawn. The bank's credibility was at danger, and then they got Shah Rukh Khan to build that trust back in the brand, or getting an Amitabh Bachchan
Amitabh
coming and
Bachchan-
recommending the brand.
Yeah.
It's just to build that trust factor on the brand. So I get that. So something for the celebrities. I mean, if you're in India, learn to keep the mouth shut. And don't get recorded when you make controversial statements, because people have a different lifestyle maybe outside the camera. All right, people have different interests, but मुंह बंद रखना भी एक कला है. And,
Also, as an influencer or maybe a celebrity, I think it's about, like you said, it's about drawing that line. Then eventually your Instagram feed starts appearing like Virat Kohli's Instagram feed, where you only have collaborations, right? If you and people create issues and trends out of really things that are not worth pondering upon. Whether someone asks you to play Holi with water or not, someone asks you to burst crackers on Diwali or not, I think you have to just not entertain that trend, I feel.
So that comes to an important question in terms of the algorithms. Whether you look at Google, whether you look at Meta, are they skewed?
They are.
And they're played with by these brands.
Absolutely. I think, if you see it, the algorithm doesn't care whether you love it or hate it.
Okay.
What it cares is, does it engage you?
True.
Correct. So if I hate something and I really hate it with all my heart,
Yeah.
I'm going to be liking certain posts. I
Kind of
am going to
posts.
be,
Yeah.
maybe retweeting some
Yeah.
of that
Yeah.
content.
True.
And suddenly you will feel two people who have probably, two people who are in the same household,
Uh,
who had the same upbringing,
Correct.
who live maybe with the same set of people. You will see their views so polarized, and
On.
neither of them are right. See, the
Correct.
unfortunate part is if
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
at an extreme, neither of the extreme is right, because the reality is somewhere in the middle.
सही बात है.
So when you look at, whether Modi government or Modi is this extreme or that extreme, I think neither of the extremes. I'm sure the reality is somewhere in the
Somewhere in
middle,
the middle.
right? So I think likewise, when that's why, if the opposite of love is not hate, it is indifference. So if you
Okay.
really hate something on social media, indifference is what
Is
you should do, so
where
that
it is.
that is not thrown up to you frequently.
And do you somewhere believe Meta and Google overhears our conversations?
I think so, yes. So it's in different capacity. When, let's say, you know they analyze very small details, कि आप कहाँ पे scroll करते हुए, where you stopped a little more,
True.
what kind of video did you see a little longer than your normal watch time, right? So all of this in a way is overhearing you, and they will have a persona of yours, right? So they can, because their product is the timeline they can curate for you.
True.
And if they want that timeline to be really one that doesn't prevent you from going
Getting
out
off
of the scroll,
of the
you just
platform.
want to keep
Yeah.
scrolling, then they have to really master that timeline that they throw at you.
In terms of where there is. So that's interesting. We spoke about algorithms, we spoke about celebs and influencers, and comes to one important thing is that paid PR. I think PR has been very aggressively used to promote the nepotism that's there prevalent in the Bollywood industry, and and the algorithms are equally used to skew your thought process and direction. Mark Zuckerberg recently admitted that during the previous elections, they somehow had information where they put Trump's post, downgraded it, and that's how. I mean, if they are influencing political
And
decisions
Musk
and
was
elections,
just the opposite of that.
sorry,
Musk was just the opposite of that.
true. But his platform was open.
Yeah, the platform
While
was
as an
open.
individual, I may recommend that okay, I
Correct.
prefer this political party, but the platform that you use is
Cannot,
open.
it has to be open.
Is open, which was not the case with Facebook when they publicly admitted that recently. And influencer social media is used by people to put out a particular image of an individual of an organization, or even they release movies. A lot of Bollywood movies are made to portray a particular
Correct.
picture of individuals, whether you look at corruption or terrorism. So like we have had movies like Azharuddin and Sanju and all coming out also. So, do you think somewhere the digital media, while we talk about freedom of expression, open channels, and somewhere that the powerhouses of money influence a lot of it that goes behind the scenes?
Absolutely, because see, at the end of the day, you want to push a narrative that works for you, right? If let's say there is a film that has been created with an intention of, let's say, whitewashing an image or promoting a counter image, you want an entire narrative to be changed and built around it, right? And that can happen through paid PR, that can happen through a lot of aggressive content on social media. I believe BJP was one of the earliest adopters of social media and the
Oh,
power of
absolutely.
social media, right?
Yeah, true.
And I think they've done such a great job from that viewpoint, from that lens of leveraging social, right?
Yeah, so I tell most people when I work at businesses and say that what is the kind of marketing you're looking at, I'm like, look at BJP. I think nothing matches in terms of that, and the speed with which they even churn out
Absolutely,
content
yes.
on times on recent topics or controversies or oppositions, just to take a small segment of a speech and making it a big viral meme out of it, is something that you learn from what they have done beautifully well.
In fact, recently, if you look at what happened with Rohit Sharma, that was also one case of PR having just misfired, because once he decided not to play the last test against Australia,
Correct.
then you had Farhan Akhtar and Vidya Balan, who had, I don't remember if Vidya Balan had ever put out a post on cricket. But I think then, hats off to this captain, whatever, something something, and that really blew up, right? Everyone could read between the lines that this is paid PR, and then you had so many other accounts that had made fun of it just because.
Correct. Yeah.
So it's
True.
it's an example of when PR misfires, it really misfires.
Correct. No, it does. It does. But I think somehow narratives are normally built over a period of time
Absolutely.
to position some individual or some brand in a particular capacity. And then, people start thinking in that direction also. And I think somewhere Indians are still very fragile, and they, even if they don't fact check every information that's there, and whatever is put out is true. For example, the Poonam Pandey controversy that she claimed that she passed away with cancer just to create it.
Ridiculous, I
So,
think.
so agencies even use this
Yeah, they
as a
use it.
platform to put
They
something out,
use
and
it.
some of the biggest brands have done that.
And I also feel like, when you look at India, just a few moments back, we were talking about how we really don't like someone else succeeding. At the same time, it's a place that hero worships as well,
True.
right? And that's
Yes.
that's why you have IPL, which is the most successful
Successful
league, right?
brand.
So it's like when you're really hero worshipping someone, it's easier for a narrative to be pushed and for you to believe in something.
All right, thanks, Hetansh. That's been an amazing conversation. Before we wrap up for today, we have a few rapid fire questions for you. So let's get down to that. You have less than 30 seconds to think and respond to these questions. One embarrassing moment when you were in US.
I think the first day itself, because I don't think I knew how to fix my bed. So I think, I had to resort to my friends to help me.
To help you with that. Oh, you've never done all those work on your own before.
Have
in
you
the
fixed
first-
a bed? No.
Let's not get
Yeah.
to my. It's your answers to give over here. If you had to go back in the last 10 years and pick up one campaign that you ran for any brand, which is still very close to you, which one will that be?
I think that would be Janta Army, which was the viral campaign that we did. This was during the first wave of COVID.
All right. Which is the author that you aspire to be? An Indian author.
Anuja Chauhan.
Okay. And which is the
For people who don't know, she also has an advertising background, and Ye Dil Mange More for
Was her
Pepsi
campaign?
was her
And
campaign.
which book of hers will you recommend to our
I think all of
viewers?
them. I think Anuja Chauhan, you can actually pick up any book. I think her daughter has also debuted. I have not read her book, but I think this one for sure. Anuja Chauhan, any book you pick up, it'll be good.
That. You did something in liberal arts to figure out more time to build your career, and a lot of people engineer के बाद MBA करते हैं because तब तक life में क्या हो रहा है पता नहीं चलता. If you had to give one recommendations to today's kids who are in their 10th or 12th, what will that be?
See, I think if you're in 10th or 12th, I think I would just repeat. I think 4 important words: obsession, profession, intervention, and mission. It takes a decade to really find out where that sweet spot is, but I think you have to pick something that you're obsessed about, where you have the right ingredients and mix to build a profession on it. You have to pick something within that space that feels like a divine intervention, which is your unique flow, and you feel like you're on a mission when you're doing that. I think when you get that mix, you should not leave it.
Beautiful. You got married a few years back. How has marriage changed you? One good, one bad.
I think 2 good, I would say, instead of 1 good, 1 bad, because
This podcast will be sent to her. So is that?
I think
the
even
reason?
if it's not, I think at least in my case, it's worked out really well. I feel like when 2 people are together, you kind of, become a little better. I mean, you sort of your own version, and she is her own version, right? But then you sort of understand what your areas of where you're lacking are, and you become like a better person, and it kind of adds a little balance to your life.
Last question for you is: would you like to sing a song for us?
Absolutely not, but I think you can play the guitar.
All right, that's it. Thank you so much. This has been a fabulous episode at Beyond the Degree. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for sharing your insights of growing up from being a student, figuring out your life with different streams, going to US and coming back and taking us to the deep dive knowledge and the good, bad, ugly world of advertising. Thank you, Hetansh, for joining us on this episode of Beyond the Degree.
Thank you, Hardik. The pleasure's mine. But more than anything else, for letting us start our company from your house.
I hope I get my equity stake for that.
Definitely not.
That's been our time on this episode. Thank you so much and see you on the next episode of Beyond the Degree. Your parents are doctors.
Yes.
How did you come into the field of chartered accountancy?
I knew very early on in my life what I didn't want to do. I grew up with medicines and needles. I knew that was not for me.
You are pretty focused कि मेरे को CA करना है. Was that kind of a success story of you being a rank holder through all your exams?
I think CA is a journey which is much more than just those 8 days of examination.
Rank holders across all 3 levels, you qualified as a CA. What next?
I thought that CPA is something that then aligns with